Well, it turns out that George R.R. Martin actually reads all of the comments that you guys leave for him on Twitter.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
George R.R. Martin, in a recent blog post on his Not a Blog website, has been talking about how he's preparing to adapt more of his late friends Howard Waldrop's novels and short stories to the big screen. Howard Waldrop passed away earlier on last year, and his death has been devastating for George because he had been his best friend since George was young. In the blog post that followed his passing, George reminisced on their friendship in their youth, describing Howard as my oldest friend from the science fiction community, the kindest, brightest, funniest man you could meet, and one of the greatest writers of his generation. It's clear from the blog post that George truly loved and respected Howard, and that he probably took his death very hard when it happened last year. So he's been spending a lot of time this past year adapting a lot of his stories on the big screen, hoping to use his celebrity and influence to introduce Howard's work to a bigger audience. According to the blog, he's already adapted Mary Margaret Road Grader, Night of the Cooters, and The Ugly Chickens for the screen. And he wanted to make another announcement in which he'd also be producing another one of Waldrop's novels, titled A Dozen Tough Jobs. However, he interrupted the announcement to acknowledge something that his fans have been accusing him of for a very long time: distracting himself from writing The Winds of Winter and dedicating his time to other less meaningful projects. In the blog post, George said, I know, some of you will just be pissed off by this announcement of adaptations, as you are by everything I announce here that is not about Westeros or The Winds of Winter. You have given up on me, or on the book. I will never finish The Winds. If I do, I will never finish A Dream of Spring. If I do, it won't be any good. I ought to get some other writer to finish it for me. I am going to die soon anyway, because I am so old. I lost all interest in A Song of Ice and Fire decades ago. I don't give a shit about writing any longer. I just sit around and spend my money. I edit the Wild Cards books too, but you hate Wild Cards. You may hate everything else I have ever written. The Hugo Winners and Hugo Losers, A Song for Lyre and Dying of the Light, Sand Kings and Beauty and the Beast, The Tower of Ashes and the Stone City, Old Mars and Old Venus, and Rogues and Warriors, and Dangerous Women, and all the other anthologies I edited with my friend Gardner DeZoy. You don't care about any of those, I know. You don't care about anything but Winds of Winter. You've told me so often enough. Now, let me start off by admitting that I am guilty of being one of the people who have said that George R. Martin will finish The Winds of Winter, but he will never finish A Dream of Spring. I did kind of say that.
You got me.
But I've also been very understanding about George's writing process, and some of the reasons why it might be taking longer for him to finish the next books. I even made a video where I pointed out some of those things, saying that people perhaps need to be a bit more understanding of why George is struggling to finish Winds of Winter. In that video, I did talk about the fact that he's lost so many friends and loved ones in the recent years, and this might be very hard for him in terms of focusing on his work. I also gave him grace on the content of the books themselves, explaining to you all that The Winds of Winter has a lot of characters and plot lines to get through, which means that it's complex and layered, and that means that it will take a long time to complete in a satisfying way.
So I've actually finished with a couple of the characters. I got their whole story, but not others. So I have to finish all that weaving, but it's still going to take me a while.
I definitely think that there are fans that are less understanding of that and are just frustrated because we've been waiting for so long. But I don't think that they should be harassing George or bombarding him with comments about how he's lazy or too old or that he's gonna die or that he's uninterested in writing these books anymore. Because that's just not true. I mean, yes, we haven't gotten The Winds of Winter in 14 years, but look at what we've gotten in that time period. The World of Ice and Fire, Volume 1 of Fire and Blood, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and House of the Dragon. All of these show that George is not uninterested in the story. I don't think it's fair or accurate to say that the man doesn't have any interest in this world or that he's no longer enthusiastic about the story. In fact, I think that the fact that all of these novels are so well written and coherent with one another only shows that George R. Martin is still very passionate and dedicated to this narrative. And he even says as much in the final paragraphs of this blog post. And I care about Westeros and Winds as well. The Starks and Lannisters and Targaryens, Tyrion and Asha, Daenerys and the dragons and the direwolves. I care about them all, more than you can ever imagine. And I do believe George when he says this. I do think that he still cares about this world, and that people shouldn't be too hard on the man because of everything that he's gone through over these years. But what do you think? Do you believe that he'll finish The Winds of Winter? And what do you think about this blog post overall? Let me know down below in the comments section, and if you like this video, then hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace.